Hi everybody! Welcome to the very first video of my One Sick Woman channel. Now, to be honest, this wasn't what I was intending my very first video to be about, but I just saw this Grey's Anatomy episode last night and I was like, I have to do a video about this. So I could wait a little bit and do the other videos I intended to do first, but I think when it comes to something that's, in pop culture, you gotta strike while the iron's hot. And the more I thought about it, the more it actually really fits into what the message of my channel is. It fits in perfectly. So I think that it's actually a really good fit now that I'm, thinking about it. So what my channel is about, a little bit. Number one, chronic illness. For me specifically, I have chronic Lyme disease. I've been sick with it for 20 years, the first 10 undiagnosed, and the second 10 diagnosed and struggling still with treatment. The second thing that my channel is about being a woman and trying to get your health taken seriously. And when I talk more about this episode of Grey's Anatomy, you'll see a little bit more what I mean by that. And then third topic that I will sometimes get into in my channel is politics. And all of these things, chronic Lyme disease, being a woman, and politics, they all go together in kind of this sick, disgusting soup that is so fun for anyone struggling with a chronic illness and a woman. But of course, this channel will also be for men because most of the topics will just be about chronic illness in general. It'll be for Limeys, it'll be for Spoonies. And as hard as things are for women, they're even more so hard for women of color and for women who are transgendered or just not cis women. So bearing all that in mind, let's get started on today's topic. So I'm a few days late because Grey's Anatomy comes on Thursday nights and I don't have cable. I know a lot of younger people don't. I just watch things on Hulu, on my computer. So I watch them usually a few nights after they've aired. So yesterday I finally got around to watching the new episode of Grey's Anatomy. And this episode, I always love Shonda. Shonda is one of my idols. She's amazing. Grey's Anatomy has been going on for a very long time, and a few of the episodes this season have been not her best work, but this episode is literally just really well written in general for the character Miranda Bailey, who it focuses on for this episode. So you have that kind of heart character connection and just storytelling, which was really good, up there with some of the best episodes ever of Grey's Anatomy. But most importantly, I think it was the most important episode she's ever written. Maybe I'm biased because it has a little bit to do with some of my struggles, but I think watching it, I knew in the first 5 minutes what it was going to be speaking on, and I was so elated to see that Shonda was bringing this to millions of people's homes, millions of people's awareness. And I just really hope that the message struck home. I know that with women it will definitely resonate, and I hope that there were some men who watched it, specifically men who are going into the medical field. So before I go on and on without saying what it's about, first, if you haven't seen it and you don't want spoilers, pause me right now. I don't mind waiting if you want to go and watch it, and I'll be here when you get back. If you don't mind some spoilers, this is still a very important topic, and you can still watch it after. You can still watch the show after. It's still going to resonate with you. So what this episode is about is Miranda Bailey is the head of chief at Grey's Sloan Memorial, the hospital in Grey's Anatomy. And forgive me if I get some of the names wrong or stutter and stuff. I have neurological Lyme disease, so it F's with my brain. So anyway, Miranda is the chief at Grey Sloan Memorial Hospital. And she is an extremely talented surgeon, extremely successful, bright, intelligent woman. And she's been struggling with her partner for a little bit, and honestly, in the first 3 minutes of the episode, she's been giving him a really hard time about his current career choice, and she was continuing to do so, and I was kind of like, I'm tired of this. She's being a big fat bee. But there's a twist to it, and turns out that the reason she was giving him the cold shoulder was because she could tell that she was starting to have a heart attack. And being the person that she is, she's very independent it's one of her flaws. She didn't want to go to the hospital where she works because she didn't want people to see her as weak because she was a woman in the boss position over the hospital. She knew that any sort of weakness, even if people aren't intentionally doing it, will still make them see her differently. So she tells her husband she wants to go, drop her off there. She sneaks into another hospital for treatment. And this is where all the problems begin. She goes in knowing as a doctor that she is having a heart attack. And the first person to come attend to her is a doctor, the head heart surgeon at this other hospital, whom she knows, and he does not take her seriously. And this is where I was so just happy that they were talking about this. But also this episode was very triggering for me, and I'm sure for any other sick woman out there it will be, in a way that I was just furious the whole fucking time, because I've lived through this experience and watching it before my eyes. A woman, she comes in and she knows she's having a heart attack, and they're doing an EKG and they're saying, oh, it's coming back normal, and she's asking them to do more testing. And they basically just begin to say, well, what kind of stress do you have going on in your life right now? And she says, don't do that. I lead a productive life that, yes, has stress sometimes, but a woman's heart attack symptoms are not the same as a man's. They can appear very mild to the woman. The woman can be talking to you, having a conversation, not in severe pain, and still be on the verge or in the middle of a heart attack. And the doctor just it's in one ear and out the other with her. She's explaining it so eloquently. She's citing statistics to them about how heart disease or heart attack affects women of color even more than most other people, and that it's not caught most of the time because the symptoms don't read like a man's heart attacks read. And despite this, the doctor just is not hearing her and just wants to go over her history and her love life and her stress levels. And then when she's going over her medical history, she does mention that she has OCD. And just, you see the doctor's face again, just take even another step back into, this isn't serious and you're just another crazy woman. And again, I really want to find the clips and play them, but I'm not good at all the editing stuff. I'm not good at all the technical stuff of doing these videos, and most of the time I don't feel well enough. So that's why I'm talking it through. But if I can add in the clips, I will, but otherwise I'm explaining. So again, another amazing scene where Miranda Bailey says, no, you cannot label me as just a crazy person because I have some mental disorder. That's not the right word I'm trying to think of for it, but basically, some sort of mental, oh God, I can't think of how I want to phrase it. I suppose disorder works fine, but I'm just trying to say it's not a huge thing. It's not like she's this super crazy person. She deals with and regulates her own OCD, but immediately the doctor used that as another way to devalue what she was saying about her own body and her own situation and her desperate attempt to be taken seriously. And this is something that is so common. Women go in to the doctors all the time and are told immediately they're just overreacting. and are told, maybe they're just stressed, maybe they're just anxious. What is their home life like? And if you are a woman who has any sort of, you are just not the most happy, bright, sunshiny person in the world, you have the most mild seasonal depression or whatever, as soon as you mention that, that's just another reason for them to completely disregard everything you're saying in a way that does not generally happen to men, and especially to white men. So she's going through all this process, and it's so triggering to me because I have lived through this over and over again, and I know so many women who have lived through this over and over again. And she gives this really eloquent speech about how that is not to be taken as a dismissal of her symptoms, and just keeps advocating for herself over and over, and he won't hear it. So she finally says, you know what, I want a second opinion. I am too sick to go back to another hospital. I could collapse and die on the road, so please send me someone else. And he does. He sends her someone else, and another white male doctor